So welcome to the London Stadium then in the east of the capital. It's West Ham United versus Aston Villa in the Premier League. I'm Sahel Sahi, and alongside me for commentary is Luke Chambers. West Ham, they're in the bottom three. A win today and other results go their way, they could climb out of the relegation zone, while Aston Villa, they're aiming for a 10th win from their last 11 in the Premier League. They can go second. West Ham, they've been remembering a club legend in Billy Bonds today. Billy passed away on Sunday the 30th of November, aged 79, and the club have earmarked the final home game before Christmas as a day to remember and celebrate Billy Bonds. And just as the players were making their way onto the pitch, just opposite from where Luke and I are watching, which is known as the Billy Bonds stand, a 3D tifo has been lifted from the floor right to the top of that stand. It looks outstanding. There's bubbles floating around in the air. It's a nice atmosphere around the London Stadium ahead of this kickoff. Luke Chambers.
Yeah, absolutely incredible tribute to what an absolute legend at West Ham Billy Bonds has been, and real nice occasion to be involved in, but a massive game ahead of us. Two teams, one fighting for survival in the Premier League so far and one chasing an ultimate incredible dream of winning the Premier League. And Aston Villa have put themselves on an incredible footing in a fantastic run of fixtures so far, winning 10 out of the last 11 games, coming up against the West Ham. We've had change, ups and downs, and one they'll be looking forward to going head to head this afternoon.
The bubbles are really bouncing out of the machine at the moment here at the London Stadium. Former players, teammates of Billy Bonds have lined up either side of the West Ham United Hammers London badge, and Sir Trevor Brooking and Alvin Martin are now moving forward onto the pitch with a floral tribute of Billy Bonds, number 4 on that famous claret and blue jersey. Well deserved. Billy Bonds was an absolute legend. Former player and manager of West Ham United, won 2 FA Cups, lifted the trophy twice for West Ham in 1975 and 1980. 799 appearances, Luke.
Oh, it's just something that's been achieved over the past decades that not many players would even get anywhere near in their playing career, let alone at one club. So to achieve that, absolute fitting for him to be received and given this send-off by so many legends, past and present, of West Ham United, and an absolutely full stadium.
A beautiful tifo of Billy Bonds in that white West Ham United shirt, from the floor to the top of the Billy Bonds stand. Number 4 it says, and he's lifting the FA Cup. That was after they defeated Arsenal in 1980. And we're having a minute's applause right now to remember Billy Bonds. MBE 1946 to 2025. Just to finish off on Billy, I've got a piece I want to read out. It's from the journalist and broadcaster Will Pugh. He's a co-host of the We Are West Ham podcast, and this is what he wrote about Billy. He says, Billy exemplified what being a West Ham United player should be about. He had guts, determination, passion, honesty, integrity, and his values matched that of our fans. Rest in peace, Billy Bonds. So we're about to get underway. It's Premier League Sunday across the 5 Live Sport network. We're on BBC Sports Extra 3 via your BBC Sounds app. It's Luke Chambers and myself, Sahel Sahi, and it's West Ham United who will get us off and underway, attacking from left to right as we watch. If you know the London Stadium, we're in the main stand in the second tier. It's a very good view. Just feel the far touchline, which is just below the Billy Bonds stand. I always have a little giggle to myself, Luke. Feels a long way away from where we are, but we still got a good view.
Yeah, it's an incredible view. Like you say, you are a little bit set back, but what a way to take in the fixture this afternoon. Massive game ahead of us. Can't wait for it to get started.
And it's your first time here at the ground, isn't it, at the London Stadium? What do you think?
Oh, it's brilliant, and especially the way we've witnessed it this afternoon with that amazing tribute. What a place to be on a Sunday afternoon. And yes, wasn't fortunate enough to play here, but I've pretty much covered every single other ground in England, so another one, great position to be in.
Anthony Taylor's our referee, just waiting for his signal. We're off and underway, so West Ham attacking from left to right in this first 45 minutes in their famous claret and blue jerseys, white shorts and socks. 2 changes to their side, who drew last Sunday at Brighton. That game finished 1-1. Magassa and Potts coming for Kilman and Rodriguez. They're both on the bench, and Unai Emery, he makes 2 changes to his winning lineup in the Premier League. They beat Arsenal by 2-1. Here's an early chance for West Ham. Oh, they've scored! What an opening! Brilliant! After 31 seconds, and it's Fernandes. He nicked the ball off the Aston Villa defence by the dead ball line, sneaked into the 6-yard box and slammed it home right-footed. What a start on an unbelievable day. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 0.
Absolutely incredible start for West Ham United, and it looked like absolutely no trouble down in the far corner as we look at it. Konsa Kamara Cash overplaying. Konsa then gets a heavy pass. He tries to turn out, and Fernandes does brilliantly to nick it off him. He drives towards the edge of the 6-yard box on a real tight angle at the near post, and he's able to drag into Bizot and just lift it above him into the far corner. Fantastic composure, pressure, brilliant start for West Ham.
He stole it off that man, Ezri Konsa. He's back in the borough where he was born, and he's been pickpocketed by Mateus Fernandes. Luke and I were talking about Ezri Konsa pre-match and his England chances of starting the first game against Croatia, and the ball was stolen away from him, and Fernandes has scored his 2nd Premier League goal of the season. What a finish, what composure after 31 seconds.
Incredible to have that opportunity land at your feet after such good work from him, but Aston Villa were in so much control on the far side, outside to the edge of their 18-yard box, just playing it around, waiting for the right time to clear it. And I think the setback from Matty Cash took Konsa by surprise, and he wasn't able to clear it first time. He then tried to make a decision to maybe make a turn. Ball gets caught under his foot, but the pressure there from Fernandes to then find himself almost right along the edge, the byline, to cut, just increase the angle for his right foot to then lift it above Bizot into that far right corner. Brilliant for West Ham.
On the day that West Ham are remembering Billy Bonds, a cracking start for West Ham. They lead Aston Villa by 1-0, but here come Aston Villa trying to respond through Maatsen. It was won back by Wan-Bissaka, and he just tries to make a few yards down this near right-hand touchline. It's poked out of play by Rodgers, so it's a throw-in for West Ham, midway inside their own half, down this near side, their right. Unai Emery is talking into the left ear of Rodgers, who's just in front of him on the edge of the technical area. Emery in all black, he's always busy moving from left to right across his edge of his dugout, watching his side at the moment trail by 1-0. They've won 9 of their last 10 in the Premier League, 8 straight wins in all competitions. This marauding Aston Villa side, they find themselves a goal behind. It's Maatsen now, purple socks roll down to his orange boots, rolls it back to Lindelof, making a start today because Pau Torres is out injured, so is Emi Martinez, so Bizot replaces him in goals. I'll run through the lineups in a moment. It's been a terrific opening 4 minutes, which has seen West Ham take the lead after 31 seconds. If you're just joining us on BBC Sports Extra 3 via your BBC Sounds app, an absolutely cracking start, and Billy Bonds is face comes up on the giant screen in the 4th minute. He wore the famous number 4 jersey here at West Ham. All of his football was played at the world famous Upton Park, and they'll be applauding throughout this minute, Luke, remembering Billy Bonds. And what a way for them to remember him, by playing a good game today, and they've started off really well.
Yeah, brilliant start, and every single West Ham fan and even Aston Villa fan in the stadium is on their feet applauding Billy Bonds and his contribution to this magnificent football club. And what an absolute send-off, and a fantastic way for the West Ham fans to really start this fixture, winning 1-0 after 31 seconds.
So West Ham have a goal kick, gives me a chance to run through their lineup. So Areola is in goals. Wan-Bissaka, Mavropanos, Todibo and Diouf make up the back 4. Magassa and Potts are the 2 players to come into the 11, replacing Kilman and Rodriguez, who are on the bench. Fernandez the goal scorer, Bowen the captain, Paquetá and Somerville make up the West Ham 11. Lindelof heads the ball away, play's been stopped, Onana's gone down. It'll be a free kick for Aston Villa. 2 changes to their winning 11, who beat Arsenal in the Premier League last Saturday by 2-1. Bizot, the goalkeeper, comes in, and Lindelof. Martinez and Pau Torres are out injured. So Bizot in goals. It's Cash, Lindelof, Konza and Maatsen, with Kamara, Onana in midfield. Tielemans, McGinn and Rodgers will play behind Watkins, who's making his 200th Premier League appearance today for Aston Villa. They have possession inside West Ham's half on the right hand side. Now to Konza, just forward of the arc of the centre circle. The yellow ball rolling in front of him. Very slow pace at the moment to the game. Every single West Ham player behind the ball. It's rolled down to this near left hand side to Rodgers. He pokes it forward to Maatsen, 5 yards away from the dead ball line. Rolls it back to Rodgers. Weak winter sunshine around the London Stadium. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 0. Fernandez with a goal after 31 seconds. The quickest goal in Premier League football this season, as the ball rolls out of play, and it's a goal kick to West Ham. He stole that stat off Ekitike. I was listening to Ian Dennis yesterday, Liverpool against Brighton, and Ekitike with the quickest goal in Premier League football this season, but it's gone to Fernandez now.
Yeah, and he'll be absolutely delighted. But I'm just looking at West Ham. They've started with a front 2 of Bowen and Somerville, and almost a diamond with Potts at the base of it, Magassa and Fernandez either side, and then Paquetá playing in behind the front 2, and they're dropping every single player back when Villa have the ball. And so far they haven't allowed them too much space. Yes, they've allowed them to have the ball, but it all seems to be in West Ham's control at the moment, in a real solid looking diamond midfield.
That's the voice of Luke Chambers, former defender, played for Nottingham Forest and Ipswich, in the commentary box this afternoon for BBC 5 Sports Extra 3. Watching West Ham 1, Aston Villa 0. Maatsen controls, tries to take on Bowen on the inside, then does so on the outside, but rolls it back to Onana, still inside Aston Villa's half. He chips it out to Cash, controls it first time, and rolls it out now to his captain, John McGinn. Wants to get on his left foot. Stands on the ball. Fernandez is defending him, just jockeys him back to Konza, rolls it forward a few yards. Once again West Ham getting everybody behind the ball. Aston Villa will have to be patient. McGinn with a left footed cross towards Watkins. That's an equaliser, and that's deadly from Watkins. Back on the goal scoring trail on his 200th Premier League appearance. Got 2 against Brighton 2 weeks ago, and he's levelled things up for Aston Villa. Sharp football, good cross from McGinn, and a deadly finish from Ollie Watkins, and all of a sudden we're all level. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1.
And I just spoke about the diamond formation, and if you leave the wide areas for a player like John McGinn to deliver a ball unopposed onto the edge of the 6-yard box, but I think Watkins attempts to get on the end of it, but it's off Mavropanos' back of his head, and it's gone in as an own goal. But you cannot allow players of that level to get their head up unopposed, put in a great flighted cross. Watkins makes a great run just to the edge of the 6-yard box outside the near post, and Mavropanos misjudges the flight of the ball, and it goes in off the back of his head.
Well spotted, Luke. That's what happened to Mosquero last night when Arsenal beat Wolves 2-1. initially you thought it came off Jesus, but it actually came off Mosquera, the Wolves defender. Exactly the same, cross from the right. And instead of Mosquera, it was Mavropanos, and it's been credited to Watkins, but that's definitely come off Mavropanos' head. It will eventually change on the BBC Sport app that I'm looking at, and it will say Mavropanos own goal. But nonetheless, we've seen 2 goals in the opening 10 minutes. It's 1 apiece, and it's setting up to be a blood and thunder game here in the east of the capital. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1, and Aston Villa responding to going behind so early on.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely brilliant response. They've dominated possession as soon as they've gone 1-0 down. They've took control of the game, they've been moving it, and like I say, West Ham had kept them at bay brilliantly. But I've noticed where you have Somerville and Bowen playing up top, Bowen's making the putting himself at the mercy of his team by tracking back fullbacks on the opposite side. Somerville's almost played a little bit too narrow. They haven't been able to shift the cross quick enough as a team, and then McGinn, with the quality he's had, he's been able to deliver a great cross. And as a centre half, you know, when a player of his ability has the time and space, you have to cover your man, the space and everything around you, and it's very, very difficult. So unfortunately for West Ham, they haven't quite covered that area early on in the game and allowed West Ham back into it.
Do you think they could have closed the cross quicker, Luke, when John McGinn... It's very slow when Aston Villa have the ball. All the West Ham players are trying to get behind and defending, but they allowed the cross to come in. No one was really closing him down. Yeah,
it's all well and good getting every player behind the ball, but you have to initiate some sort of pressure as they get 30-40 yards from your goal, and West Ham didn't do that quick enough and allowed McGinn to take it back on his left foot inside, just about 30 yards from goal, on the angle of the corner of the penalty area, and then he was able to deliver across unopposed. And you know what, Watkins, that's his strength, and as a defender, if you're trying to mark the centre of your goal and he makes a move, it's very difficult to cover all angles.
So it's West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1 on BBC Sports Extra 3 via your BBC Sounds app. Over on 5 Live, it's Sunderland 0, Newcastle 0. Your commentary team there is John Murray and Paul Robinson. On 5 Sports Extra, Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0. John Akers and Joby McInniff will be leading you through that game. On 5 Sports Extra 2, Nottingham Forest 0, Tottenham 0, and that's Lee Blakeman and Clinton Morrison will be talking you through that game at the City Ground. Later on at 5:30 on 5 Live, Brentford hosting Leeds, and it's Alistair Bruce Ball and Pat Nevin on the mic there. Here, West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1. A real lively opening 12 minutes, and West Ham with possession with Somerville. He's got gloves on, short sleeves, comes in field, just inside Aston Villa's half, plays the ball through the centre circle to Magassa. Now on to Wan-Bissaka. Will head to the African Cup of Nations tomorrow to represent his country, the DR Congo. They'll miss him when he's gone. An outstanding defender. Out to Diouf, who will join him on the plane, representing Senegal. Fernandes and Todibo swapping passes. Fernandes tries to pick out his captain Bowen, and I thought Wan-Bissaka was about to sneak in, but Bizot in all black collects 5 yards away from the edge of his penalty area.
Yeah, some real comfortable play from West Ham there. First time they've had a real bit of possession inside Aston Villa's half, but there's no real threat in behind at the moment. Everyone's coming to feet. You're playing with midfielders of Potts, Fernandes, Magassa and Paqueta, who love the ball into feet and trying to find pockets at the moment. Bowen and Somerville doing similar. So at one point they have to make a run in behind just to create a little bit more space for that diamond midfield, like I say, that West Ham have deployed today.
Bizot with black gloves on as well and orange boots. You can't miss him, even if you were 100 miles away. Just looking into the stadium, stands out. The Dutch international in goals today ahead of Martinez, who's out injured. James Wright is the replacement goalkeeper for Aston Villa, age 21, yet to make his debut. It's the ball that has gone out of play. Nuno Espirito Santo, the West Ham manager, looking at the assistant referee to his right, saying there's a push in the back, but throw-in's being taken. Matson loses possession. Here comes Fernandes, now to Paquetá. Paquetá creeps in field, tries to find Bowen, does manage to keep the ball from running out of play. It's a good game this, Luke. 14 minutes played, 1-1.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams have started very, very well. Yes, West Ham had a brilliant start and they'll be disappointed with the way they've let Aston Villa get back in the game, but it's 2 moments of quality when it's needed to be. And West Ham now seem to have just settled down, haven't let that goal affect them. They've been on the front foot, keeping possession, playing much of the last 10 minutes in Aston Villa's half.
You were watching the Arsenal-Wolves game last night on the TV. That was the exact carbon copy of the first goal that Aston Villa scored, the equalising goal, I should say. The winning goal last night, wasn't it, for Jesus? The cross from the right, and the header came off Mosquera. The header's come off Mavropanos today.
Yeah, and like I say, there's so many top players in the Premier League now, and you can't allow anyone time on the ball 30 yards from your own goal. You have to get in people's faces, get their head down, put a bit of pressure, so they're not able to deliver off a wand of a left foot that John McGinn has, and West Ham have paid the ultimate price for the equaliser.
Lindelof, as the Aston Villa fans to our right, in decent voice, encouraging their team. At the moment they're watching some scintillating football. 9 wins out of their last 10 in the Premier League, 8 in all competitions. They really are going from strength to strength. If they manage to eke out the victory today, they could go second behind Arsenal. But West Ham will have plenty to say about that. They need to get a ball away from the edge of the penalty area. It goes back to Areola instead, and he throws it out underarm into Todibo. Themselves in a bit of a pickle there, Luke, on the edge of their own penalty box.
Yeah, to be fair, credit to West Ham. They're taking control of the game in terms of they're not really slashing at clearances. They're being very, very calm when they do win the ball back. I think under Nuno Espirito Santo, they're definitely feeling that they're a lot more solid when they're sitting in, when they're having to soak up pressure, and when they do win the ball back, they're just trying to take that extra pass. But that one, Fernandes almost gets caught with probably overconfidence, playing back into his back four to Todibo, and it almost gets cut out. But thankfully he rolls back to Areola, and West Ham are back in control of possession. At
the moment, this is the only game in the Premier League that they kicked off at 2 o'clock. 4 games kicking off at 2 o'clock that has had goals in the game. Goal accreditation panel has adjudged Aston Villa's 9th minute goal as a Mavropanos own goal. That's come from the Premier League Match Centre on X. We don't need that. We've got Luke Chambers. He called it straight away. After about 20 seconds of my commentary, Luke picked up and said it was Mavropanos. So who needs the Premier League Match Centre when you've got Luke Chambers, eh?
Eagle-eyed this afternoon.
Well spotted, really well spotted. Considering our commentary position, as I've always said, it's a real privilege to watch Premier League football for BBC Radio. The commentary position here is test shoot. Maatsen just comes over the halfway line, wants to come infield, slightly overhit. Bowen thought he nicked it away from him, got it back to his 2 centre halves. And this is what is intriguing at the moment. When Aston Villa have possession, West Ham are getting every single body behind the ball, and they're allowing Aston Villa to get up to a certain point, and then they'll attack them. But Tielemans has it and he wins a corner. For me, Luke, that's dangerous. You can see what West Ham are doing. They're allowing Aston Villa to have the ball, and then they'll pounce. But like that, Aston Villa move the ball quickly through the thirds, and they've won a corner. Well,
as soon as that ball comes out to any fullback and he's not pressured, you're hoping every single player in your defensive half is matching their runners. On that occasion, Magassa lets Tielemans run off the back of him, and then Mavropanos has to cover almost 25 yards and take the runner, which fortunately he does, but gives Aston Villa a corner.
1-1, 18 minutes played. Corner's taken short to Maatsen. And now on to Kamara, plays it infield, short and square to his captain McGinn. Rolls it out to Cash. This is on the right hand side. Cross comes in deep. That was Onana, all 6'5" of him on the edge of the 6-yard box. He just couldn't crane his neck and get the direction of the header onto the target. He said it looped up and over the crossbar, but the referee, Anthony Taylor, seen a foul inside the penalty area, so it's a free kick for West Ham. 1-1.
Yeah, the play built up all the way from a corner on this near side, down the bottom left-hand corner in front of us, and they've worked it all the way to the other side of the 18-yard box for Matty Cash to deliver a real good cross to the back post. And you can see Ezri Konsa screaming for the ball to be left by Onana, who couldn't quite reach it, but it then Fortunately for West Ham, it's headed over the crossbar and a free kick's been given for an infringement on the edge of the 18-yard box.
West Ham with possession inside their own half, now over the halfway line in front of the technical area. Wan-Bissaka rolls the ball forward using his studs, then goes back into his own half. West Ham, they will want to be patient as well in this build-up. Somerville now, Paquetá first time to Todibo in the left full-back area, just below the Billy Bonds stand, on a day when the club are remembering their former player and manager. And what a day it could turn out to be if they can claim a real crucial 3 points. If they were to win, they'll climb out of the bottom three ahead of Leeds, taking on Brentford on the west side of the capital. That game kicks off at 4:30 and that will be live on 5 Live. Throw in for Aston Villa on the halfway line. Onana doesn't control, won back by Magassa. Now Wan-Bissaka plays it infield, but Kamara tidies up well. Good combination in midfield for Aston Villa in Kamara, Onana and Tielemans.
Yeah, and you can understand why West Ham have deployed that diamond to try and take care of all three of them, and they've got the extra man. But at the moment, Aston Villa are coming out on top of that midfield battle, with Onana and Kamara especially winning those balls back for Aston Villa.
And this is Rodgers down this near side, the left-footed cross to the far post, well headed away by Juff, because it was McGinn actually who was causing problems inside the 6-yard box. Wouldn't expect McGinn to be so central, but he was, and it's a corner for Aston Villa. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1.
Yeah, brilliant play again down this near side for Aston Villa, and Morgan Rodgers this time running away from his midfielder. He delivers a real good cross from the edge, alongside the edge of the 6-yard box, and Juff does brilliantly, covering in just inside that back post and heads it clear from just under his crossbar. But a corner for Aston Villa that West Ham have to defend.
It's Matty Cash who'll take it, right arm lifted skywards. It'll be a 4-yard run up. Here it comes, right footed, in swinging, high to the far post. It evades everyone, but it actually comes off Magassa, off the top of his left shoulder. Referee Anthony Taylor did not hesitate to point to the opposite side of the ground. Now the corner will be taken on that side, which McGinn places the ball very carefully inside the quadrant. It goes back for a 3-yard run up. His right arm is signal skywards. Here it comes, left footed, in swinging, punched away one-handed by Areola, and the referee didn't like that. A little nudge on the goalkeeper, stops playing. It's a free kick for West Ham. So Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Nottingham Forest and Spurs at the moment, that's the same scoreline there, and Sunderland and Newcastle, and here it's 1 apiece. And on the monitor in front of us, we're just seeing that own goal, the equalising goal for Aston Villa, Luke.
Yeah, and it's good play from Villa down the far right hand side, gets out to John McGinn. He steps back inside on his left foot from the edge of the pitch and whips a wicked ball in towards the 6-yard box that Watkins gets across Mavropanos, who then is out of position and just clips off the back of his head and goes into the top corner. Real sucker punch for West Ham, having a brilliant start, taking the lead after 31 seconds through Manuel Fernandes.
So here they come, building forward. West Ham in their home strip of claret and blue jerseys, white shorts and socks, and it's Aston Villa who are having to defend. It's Juff inside the penalty on the left hand side. He's saying it's come off Matty Cash's hand, but he'll continue, he'll cross it. That will be checked. Konza with the header at the near post, forced up Port. Bowen gets it in. Will it be onside? The goal does stand. Bowen runs away, celebrates in front of the West Ham supporters in the lower tier of the main stand. West Ham have retaken the lead. There was a couple of incidents there, one possibly a handball from Cash. Juff carried on, he crossed the ball in, shot came in from Potts from the edge of the area. This will be checked and rechecked. They're checking Juff's, maybe if he was offside. And when the shot came in from Potts, Bowen stuck out a leg and steered it past Bizot, he's definitely onside, Bowen, Luke. So at the moment, it's West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1.
There's absolutely all sorts to unpick here. The first ball, and I mentioned it, can West Ham get runners in behind? They do through Diouf, but the question is, was he offside on the initial pass over the top? He then proceeds to deliver a good cross, which is blocked potentially by Matty Cash's left hand, but he didn't sulk. He got on with the ball, he took the ball down, delivered a fantastic cross along the 6-yard box, which Konsa headed clear, and then Freddie Potts had the time of the whole afternoon to pick out a brilliant volley, which he took as it come flying out the sky, and Bowen's on hand to follow it in, and they're now checking, I think, the initial ball over the top.
Do you think they're checking the Diouf run down the left? Because Bowen was definitely onside, wasn't he?
For me, Bowen, having seen a replay as well, but initially I think it was Konsa who dropped in to the 6-yard box and wasn't able to get anywhere near to get Bowen offside, and it's definitely onside from that one, but I think it's the first one, Diouf running in behind along that far left channel.
Yeah, the big screens either side, but the goal does stand. You can hear the delight from the home support. West Ham back in front on a special day. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1.
It's a game of responses. Aston Villa responded well from going 1-0 down after 30 seconds, but West Ham have been brilliant since that equaliser, and they've been on the front foot. Now they're hunting impacts on this near side close to us, trying to get that ball back. The stadium's been lifted again, but back we go, every man behind the ball and seeing what Aston Villa can do to open another door.
He really is a leader of this team, Jarrod Bowen. Scored last week against Brighton. He's the only ever present in the Premier League for the Hammers this campaign. He sets an example, and he steered West Ham back in front against Aston Villa. This is really a tasty afternoon in the East End of London. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1. BBC 5 Sports Extra 3 via your BBC Sounds app. On the day that West Ham United are remembering Billy Bonds, a former player and manager, true legend of the club, a true legend of football. Onana now back to Konsa, and Aston Villa have to come in search of an equaliser yet again. Can they respond? Cash comes infield, chased down by Somerville. Now it's to Konsa, and once again this familiar pattern. All inside West Ham's half, apart from the Aston Villa goalkeeper Bizot. Now it's Maatsen, he turns 5 yards outside the penalty area, sprawling. Wan-Bissaka clears right-footed up to the halfway line. Lindelof forced back. Konsa all the way back to his goalkeeper Bizot in his orange boots, plays it short and square to his left. Lindelof 5 yards on to Maatsen. Maatsen strokes it left-footed, looking for Watkins. Controls first time, back to goal. Plays it to Kamara. That was intelligent from Watkins. Now Kamara on to Tielemans. Tielemans first time to the overlapping Cash. Well defended by Diouf. He gets it away. Somerville uses his body. Referee doesn't agree. That's harsh from Anthony Taylor. It's a free kick to Aston Villa. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1.
Yeah, the West Ham faithful aren't very happy with that decision, and it's the tempo of the game's massively picked up in this last 5 minutes, and West Ham have had to be on it. They've set the tempo with the pressure, but that one there, it looks like Somerville just in the back of Kamara. He looked like he was going to get on the end of it. Unfortunately, probably used a little bit too much force from just behind him, and it wasn't probably a shoulder to shoulder. But now West Ham have to deliver a dangerous situation, defending on the edge of their 18-yard box from a John McGinn free kick.
Nottingham Forest have taken the lead at home to Spurs by 1-0. That's on 5 Sports Extra 2. Hudson-Odoi, free kick comes in, bobbling about on the edge of the 6-yard box. Referee has seen an infringement, and it's possibly on Potts. He's holding, rubbing the back of his neck. It's a free kick to West Ham. They lead Aston Villa by 2-1. Yeah,
again, I think this game's had everything so far. Real good delivery from John McGinn at the far right-hand side, just 10 yards inside West Ham's half. He delivers it high and long to the back post. Onana gets up brilliantly, and Mavropanos with a great challenge in the air. There was a little appeal for initial handball, I think, from the Aston Villa players, but Anthony Taylor spotted a foul just outside their 6-yard box, and we're just seeing a replay of it now going into the back post, and it looks like it comes off to Debo on his left arm, and I think they've probably got away with one there.
That's Luke Chambers, former Nottingham Forest and Ipswich Town defender, watching this game for BBC 5 Sports Extra 3. At the moment it's Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0 as Tielemans is down injured, so a stoppage in play. So 0-0 at Selhurst Park, 0-0 in the Weir Tyne derby, Sunderland 0, Newcastle 0. Nottingham Forest, as I mentioned, leading at home against Tottenham by a goal to 0. Hudson-Odoi with the goal there, and here we've seen a real lively, entertaining opening 30 minutes. It's West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1. If you've just tuned in, Fernandes opening the scoring for West Ham after 31 seconds. Then Aston Villa equalising through a Mavropanos own goal, and Jared Bowen putting West Ham back in front 6 minutes ago after 24 minutes. 30 minutes played then. It's West Ham leading Aston Villa by 2-1, and their captain doing some defending deep in his own right full-back area. Rodgers is all over him, but Bowen is showing his strength and steel to hold him off. He's wriggled forward 5 yards, eventually taken off him by Maatsen, and he had to go back 15 yards to Konza. Plays the ball through the centre circle onto Cash, and now it's Tielemans outstretching left boot to control. He's forced back by Fernandes, and Aston Villa once again, they'll have to be patient. This is definitely a game plan from the West Ham manager Nuno Espirito Santo. Get everyone behind the ball, allow Aston Villa to have possession, and then press them as they approach the West Ham penalty area. So far so good. Rodgers comes infield into a crowded midfield area, sweeps the ball out right footed to McGinn. Watkins is inside the penalty area, joined by Kamara and Cash. He rolls it back to Konza, and now Lindelof plays it down to this left hand side, first time by Rodgers to Maatsen, just outside the penalty area, tries to carve out some space, crosses the ball, but it comes off him eventually, goes out for a goal kick. West Ham still leading Aston Villa by 2-1.
This is an absolutely brilliantly intriguing battle between two fantastic technical coaches and managers, and I said West Ham had started the game in a diamond formation with two up front. They've almost now gone to a 4-2-4, and Bowen's playing on this near side as almost like wide right, Somerville opposite side wide left, and they're now tracking the fullbacks, which isn't really giving Aston Villa too much space in behind. The only questions that are being asked is when there's a runner through the centre of midfield, and it's whether or not Magassa is tracking him. Fortunately for West Ham that time, he tracked Maatsen all the way and got a ricochet off him that it goes back to Areola for a goal kick.
And Areola has the ball on the edge of his 6-yard box, rolls it out to Debo in the left full-back area. Juffet just flicks it down that left-hand side, and it's gone back to an Aston Villa player. Slightly overhit by Konza. Bizot had to change his direction to the right side of his penalty area, and now Lindelof rolls it back to his goalkeeper. Aston Villa in their away strip of cream shirt with purple shorts and socks find themselves behind. They've won their last 5 games in the Premier League, beating Arsenal by 2-1, then Brighton away in a 7-goal thriller, and Wolves at home by 1-0, and then on their travels at Ellen Road, and before that they dispatched of Bournemouth before the final international break of the calendar year by 4-0. The last defeat coming at the hands of Liverpool on a Saturday night by 2-0, but they're trailing here 2-1. They have possession on the edge of West Ham's penalty area, and Magassa pokes it out of play for a throw-in to the visitors Aston Villa.
Yeah, real calm play from Aston Villa now. They're looking for pockets, they're looking for passing lanes through West Ham's defensive unit. So far West Ham have covered every position, every single runner. You've got Jared Bowen probably covering twice as much as every West Ham player so far.
Given away by Onana to Somerville. He's got Bowen in support to his right, no one to his left. He plays it behind Bowen, and does get a round of applause, a bit of encouragement from his captain, but wasn't sure. I think he looked to his left, there was no one there, looked to his right, played it behind Bowen. It's a throw in for Villa.
Yeah, it's a good break from West Ham, and do they now sit in a position where they're sitting bodies behind the ball and every single attack they have is going to be a counter-attack, and it's going to be very, very difficult for them to keep up at that level of intensity. But just as he's drove through the middle, Somerville, towards the edge of the 18-yard box, he just played it behind Jarrod Bowen's path, and he couldn't adjust his body to then get hold of possession and lets Aston Villa off easily.
It's play's been switched from left to right in the direction of Bowen. Mavropanos now has it, plays it across the back four to Fernandez. Takes the ball off to Debo. Now on to Paquetá in front of his manager, who's constantly wavering, telling his players where to go. Nuno Espirito Santo, arms folded in a long navy blue coat on the edge of his technical area. Both managers, they'll stay there throughout the game. If you know the London Stadium, there's no point going back to the seats. It's so far away from the pitch. Paquetá now on to Bowen, approaching the penalty area, down this near side of the right, gets a low ball in, low cross, cleared away by Lindelof first time, only as far as Paquetá. Wan-Bissaka runs forward. Paquetá with a nonchalant flick through a crowded area. Kamara gets it away, and now Tielemans has it, twists and turns. McGinn on the halfway line, back to Rodgers. This is good from Aston Villa. They've got an overload on the right. Kamara, there's two players who want it. He gives it to Watkins. Cash is in support. Watkins sets himself up, wants to have a shot, and took too long. Cash was to his right, couldn't make his mind up, and now here come West Ham on the counter-attack. This is where they need to capitalise. Paquetá onto Bowen. This is a good opportunity for West Ham. A chance. Bowen hits the dead ball line, pulls it back from Paquetá, and it's poked away by the Aston Villa defence. And McGinn tries to set Watkins away. Todibo gets there first, watches the ball very carefully, has to defend this well, picks out Juve. It's still West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1. It's breathless around the London Stadium.
It is, and it's just slowed down now. No one's even chasing after the ball. End to end, one side to the next, back and forward for both teams. As Bowen's played down this near side in front of us.
Inside the penalty area, wants to get on his left foot, but telegraphed that to Maatsen, 5 yards away from the dead ball line, down this near side, the right for West Ham as they attack from left to right, if you know the London Stadium, in this first half. 5 live football from the BBC, 5 Sports Extra 3 via your BBC Sounds app. We're watching West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1, 9 minutes to play in the first half. Premier League Sunday across the 5 Live network. The floodlights are on. Weak winter sunshine, a couple of weeks away from Christmas now. This is the final home fixture before Christmas for West Ham. Can they send their fans away with a huge gift of 3 points? Tielemans comes to collect short, pings the yellow ball back to Lindelof. Once again, this is cat and mouse football, really intriguing between the two managers that Luke very neatly described. Two technicians, Unai Emery Spanish and Nuno Espirito Santo Portuguese, both very acute and aware of what it takes to break down an opposition. Here comes Juve, overlapping on the left hand side, picked out by Fernandez, controlled it well. McGinn scampering back, and it's a throw in for West Ham.
Yeah, and it's in the far side again. El Hadji Malik Diouf running up and down that left side. He's asking John McGinn questions. Are you going to come with me? And on that time, fortunately for Aston Villa, he did. And that's their real outlet running forward now for West Ham.
Somerville fouled by Kamara, and that's the first booking of the afternoon, just outside the penalty area. I'd say about 5 yards away. Somerville poked the ball towards his captain, wanted a quick 1-2, and was foul tackled by Kamara.
Yeah, it's definitely a yellow card for me. He knows exactly what he's doing. He tries to please his innocence. Somerville drives towards him and drops it off the outside of his right foot round him. He runs round the other side, and Kamara just lifts his right leg up and clips Somerville's legs, and it's a real dangerous position for Aston Villa to have to defend now. West Ham a real good opportunity, just 4 or 5 yards outside the far area of the 18-yard box. Real dangerous position for him.
It's to the left of the D. good 5 yards to the left of the D, 5 yards outside the penalty area. Set Paquetá and Potts over the ball.
Is it too wide for a shot? That's the question.
It's a 3-man Aston Villa wall. Bizot is just to the left of his near post. Looks like Potts might be the favourite. Paquetá instead floats it to the edge of the 6-yard box. Mavropanos tries to get there. They're claiming for something, the West Ham players, led by Magassa. Play continues. Whatever's being claimed will be checked, no doubt. Magassa tidies up. Good play from the young French midfielder. That's a real combination now for West Ham, Luke. Magassa and Potts in central midfield, both very young, but lots of energy, lots of legs.
I can't speak highly enough of the first 40 minutes they've played, especially today, but the reaction that you see now from the West Ham players, and at the start of the season they weren't reacting positively for anything that goes against them. Yes, it could have been a handball shout inside the 6-yard box, but you've seen 4 players from West Ham sprint to the edge of the halfway line, all surround the ball to win it back, and then they've regained possession. It's a different side that we're watching.
5 minutes to play. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1 of the first half. Haaland has scored for Manchester City. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1. Paquetá comes in field. His shorts pulled up right to the top, almost he's like on a Brazilian beach. It's Somerville, heads towards the dead ball line. Thought it took a deflection off Cash. It rolls out of play and goes out for a goal kick for Aston Villa. So just briefly, Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1. Haaland with the goal 4 minutes before half time. Nottingham Forest 1, Spurs 0. Hudson-Odoi with that goal there. The Wear Tyne derby is Sunderland 0, Newcastle 0, and here it's West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1, as Aston Villa tried to play the ball out from the back. Lindelof has it a yard away from his dead ball line. Now it's Matson in the left full back area, rolls it forward 15 yards. Wan-Bissaka wins it back. Nice 1-2 between him and Wan-Bissaka. That was late from Onana. Referee says no. Wan-Bissaka's down. He's now got up. He's just running the slight knock off. Just looking at the referee to his right. That looked a bit harsh on Wan-Bissaka, Luke.
Well, immediately Anthony Taylor just inside Aston Villa's half. Wan-Bissaka played and ran round Onana, and it looked like a foul from our position. But Anthony Taylor was a lot closer than we are, 5 yards away, immediately waved it off as almost simulation. Maybe not simulation because he didn't book him. But I think everyone here, from watching the game from the side of the pitch, felt it was a free kick, but play was waved on.
Few supporters heading into the concourses here at the London Stadium. Not sure they'd want to leave just yet. You can't take your eyes off this game so far. 3 minutes to play of the first half, plus any that will be added on at the end of this first 45 minutes. West Ham United 2, Aston Villa 1. Somerville and Juff swap passes, and it's a yellow card this time for the Aston Villa captain, McGinn. I'm quite sure, it's strange, isn't it? I thought Onana's tackle was worse than that, Luke.
Well, it certainly has been very, very good play. I think both players in Matty Cash and John McGinn knew exactly what they were doing. Somerville and Juff down that far left-hand side have become a real bright partnership for the last 20 minutes, playing, running forward. And Matty Cash and John McGinn are having to defend a lot more than they'd wanted to.
And Paquetá floats in the free kick. It's taken comfortably high up in front of his eyeballs by Bizot. It's gone down in a bit of a heap as he took that, clashed with Mavropanos. Greek up against the Dutch.
Well, he's certainly a threat in the air, is Mavropanos, and unfortunately today he scored one in his own net at the start of the game. But every time the ball goes forward or a set piece, he's certainly a target for West Ham, and he's not afraid to go for absolutely everything as he replaces his boot inside the centre circle as he gets back into his centre half position, and Bizot is nursing a big crack in the bottom of his back from that challenge.
You've enjoyed it so far, Luke. It's been a good watch, hasn't it?
Very, very good so far from both teams. I think
it's intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah, they've responded to both setbacks that they've both had, and I think for West Ham, from where they have been over the last few months, they're looking like a completely different side under Nuno. And for Aston Villa, they've been used to going goals down. They did it at Brighton, came back from 2-0 down, so they won't be too concerned of where they are, and I think so far they'll both be relatively pleased with how the game's going.
Yeah, West Ham 13 points from their 15 games so far, while Aston Villa have collected 30, an average of 2 points per game. That would take you a long way, that average. Maatsen now to Rodgers, tries to scoop it up down the left hand side. It's headed away by Mavropanos. More supporters head out of their seats and into the cavernous concourses of the London Stadium. We're into the final 60 seconds. Paquetá goes down, wants a free kick. Referee waves play on. Aston Villa have possession midway inside West Ham's half. Cash crosses the ball from right to left onto the chest of Rodgers. Right-footed over the top. It skims the roof of the net. That was a decent try from the England international. He quickly got it down from his chest, controlled it, caressed it, and it beat Areola onto the roof of the net there, right at the back of the stanchion. Maybe Areola will say to someone like me, I had it covered, no panic. Goal kick to West Ham. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1.
Yeah, really good play from Aston Villa, and West Ham had sucked themselves back into their own 18-yard box, and Matty Cash spotted a pass that no one probably saw. He reversed it back from the corner of the 18-yard box right across the 18-yard box. Rodgers, time and space, gets it down, and you wouldn't bet against him. He's got the confidence of everyone, as he's playing with so much confidence at the moment, to just get it outside of his right foot and just almost used, I think it was Wan-Bissaka, to bend it round towards that far top corner, and fortunately for West Ham it just flies over Areola's top crossbar.
Yeah, he's got 3 goals in the Premier League this season. Morgan Rodgers wants to at least match his tally from the last campaign where he got 8. And he comes forward again. We're into time added on at the end of the first 45 minutes. It's 2 that will be added on. Pushing the back on Fernandes by Tielemans, and Fernandes responds. And when you just look at that 3 now in midfield for West Ham, Luke, you've got Magassa aged 22, Potts 22 and Fernandes 21. Young players learning their trade, getting experience, and there's hope for this West Ham side. They've got to survive this year. Nuno Espirito Santo said this. He said we're in a relegation battle. We've got to get out of it this campaign, then we can look forward.
Well, if that doesn't give you belief as a young player, as Aston Villa lose the ball on the edge of the 18-yard box.
Yeah, Somerville, snapshot, shows a lad who's not really got the confidence at the moment. Crescenzo Somerville, an inch of space. You'd think someone with his talent would do better with that, but he dragged it horribly wide. It's a goal kick. Still West Ham lead 2-1.
Yeah, but back to that midfield 3 that you mentioned for West Ham, the age they're playing at and being trusted by an experienced coach and manager like Nuno is you can't have a bigger bit of praise from a manager. So for them, it's their chance to grow into it. But what they do have, which I feel West Ham have struggled with over the last couple of years, is energy and legs and athleticism in that midfield and all over the pitch. And I think that's what this West Ham fan base want to see.
Kamara, crossfield ball from right to left. Wan-Bissaka read that, got there before Rodgers, headed it 15 yards forward, picked up by Maatsen. Clock ticks down to half time. The referee blows, and it's been a thoroughly entertaining 45 minutes, and West Ham lead at the break by 2-1. It was Fernandes who opened the scoring after 31 seconds, and then Mavropanos with the equaliser. It was an own goal, an equaliser, and then Bowen took West Ham back into the lead, and at half time we lead West Ham lead here, Luke, by 2-1.
Yeah, and it's been a really intriguing game. I think it's been action packed, I would say, in terms of how the teams have approached the game. Early goal for West Ham, real good response from Aston Villa, some real good quality on show at times, but 2 good teams this afternoon who are playing very, very good football. They're playing intense football, they're chasing, they're harrying, they're rushing each other when they have to, and when they've had to have a bit of quality, both teams have showed that they've had that, and especially late on in the half with Morgan Rodgers just getting a bit of time to get a shot off will be a warning sign for West Ham going into the second half, knowing not everything's going to go their own way.
Just a quick question from me before we pack up for half time. It shows you, everyone always says the Premier League best in the world, so on and so forth, but for me it actually shows you the depth of the Premier League. When you watch this game, Aston Villa third before we kicked off. West Ham in the relegation zone. If you just came from Mars and you sat down, you wouldn't think that, would you? What my point is on that as well, Luke, I want to make 9 wins from the last 10 in the Premier League, Aston Villa, 8 in all competitions. In the Champions League last year, only lost to Paris Saint-Germain after a rip-roaring quarter-final. What my point is, the depth of this division is scary now.
And it is scary, and when all things align, especially for a club like West Ham, for no account today, Aston Villa have played poorly. West Ham I wouldn't have said they've raised their game. They've played to their strengths under Nuno, and that's what they're able to do. They're able to compete, and yes, maybe if you look at the substitutes bench, that depth right now might not go all the way down, but both teams going at it, the 11v11, it shows you that no one can guarantee any results in this division, and I think it shows you how much quality, like you say, there is throughout the whole league, and West Ham are certainly responding for the setbacks they've certainly had in the start to the season.
Thank you, Luke. So half time here at the London Stadium. We'll be back in around about 12 minutes time. It's West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1. So welcome back then to the London Stadium as the West Ham United and Aston Villa players head back onto the playing surface. And here comes the referee, Anthony Taylor, with the yellow ball clutch close to his light blue jersey. Just quick scan on the pitch to see if there is any changes that either manager's made at half time. Very unlikely if you're Nuno Espirito Santo. So far so good, and Unai Emery doesn't really panic as he walks forward with the bubbles all around surrounding him as they pump out of the machines here at the London Stadium. His hands firmly in his black trousers, very smart black pumps. You can picture the white soles from where Luke and I are watching this game for BBC Sports Extra 3 on your BBC Sounds app. We're off and underway. Lots of supporters still making their way back into the London Stadium white and claret and blue seats, and it's Aston Villa who are now defending the goal to our left. They're attacking from left to right. If you know the London Stadium, we've got a few bubbles encroaching our commentary position. Run through the two teams in a moment as a West Ham player goes down. Play's just stopped. Early stages of the second half, and let's get the thoughts of Luke Chambers.
Yeah, nothing much has happened too far in the first 40 seconds of what we were treated to in the opening 31, with West Ham taking the lead in the first half. But Magassa is down on the far side, just outside the 18-yard box, and I think Anthony Taylor's given a free kick, but it almost looked like an innocuous challenge that no one really knew why Anthony Taylor had whistled for. But I think the ball was won back brilliantly by Mavropanos, and it's the follow-through, I think, from Onana as Magassa slides to the floor just outside the 18-yard box and clips one on, and I think it's the follow-through. Accidentally, Onana treads on Magassa's ankle just as I watch back the replay there, but he's still down, and it's been 2 or 3 minutes as his physio just approaches his position, and hopefully for West Ham he'll be okay, because he's been very, very good and instrumental to the real positive performance that West Ham have given so far in this game.
He's got Souček and Rodriguez on the bench. Nuno Espirito Santo, if he needs to make the change, but as Luke just said there, doesn't really want to, especially as we've just restarted the second half. I'll run through the West Ham lineup before they take this free kick. So Areola is in goals. The back four: Wan-Bissaka, Mavropanos, Todibo and Diouf, with Magassa and Potts. Magassa just having to come off the pitch to receive some treatment. Then Fernandez, Bowen the captain, Paquetá and Somerville. Goal scorers for West Ham: Fernandez and Bowen. Run through the Villa lineup after this free kick. Paquetá runs away, leaves it for Potts. He'll just measure up. It's at 15 yards in from that far touchline. On the right hand side here, it comes right footed into the heart of the 6-yard box. Todibo was there. It's by himself, or was he marked by Konza? Todibo's not pleased. It's been awarded as a goal kick. I think he's claiming it came off the Aston Villa player.
Well, I think what he's claiming was it a foul that Anthony Taylor's given, and Konsa just bends down just outside the 6-yard box and heads it for a corner, and Tadebo's just seems to be stood behind him, and Anthony Taylor's pulled it back for a free kick, and I think that's why it's in so sort of vividly in front of him that it wasn't a foul. But fortunately for Aston Villa, they get possession and now just on the edge of, just inside West Ham's half.
Yeah, Magassa is back onto the playing surface, and Nottingham Forest have scored a second at home to Tottenham. Hudson-Odoi with his second of the day. So Nottingham Forest 2, Spurs 0. And we've got an opening goal in the Wine Tier, a Weir Tyne derby. It's a tongue twister, that is. Walter Marder with an own goal after 46 minutes. So Sunderland 1, Newcastle 0 in the Weir Tyne derby. So every game in the Premier League that kicked off at 2 o'clock has got a goal now. And here at the London Stadium, West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1, opening stages of the second half. It's been a slow start to this second half, punctured by a few stoppages. Bizot under pressure from Paquetá, rolls it to Lindelof inside the penalty area, clips it forward right-footed to Watkins, is back to the halfway line now to Maatsen. He lifts it down that inside left channel to Rodgers, does well, backpedaling, controls it on his chest, switches play from left to right to McGinn. First time ball into the penalty area by McGinn, tried to pick out Kamara. Fernandes tidies up, Paquetá lays it off to Diouf. Good play by Aston Villa. Now West Ham are responding. Paquetá crowded quickly by 2 Aston Villa players. They win possession back. Kamara pokes it forward to Tielemans, just outside the penalty area, right hand side, puts it across. This is a chance for Rodgers, and he capitalises. Good finish, lethal finish. That's why Thomas Tuchel likes him, and that's why he'll be heading to the World Cup. It's West Ham 2, Aston Villa 2.
Brilliant incisive attack from Aston Villa on this near side, right in front of Nuno Espirito Santo, and they win the ball back brilliantly. And it's Paquetá who's caught on it, but Tielemans wins it, and then Kamara just sucks Paquetá back in outside of his boot, clears him out, but Tielemans, brilliant cross, it just drops outside the 6-yard box, and Morgan Rodgers, I mentioned his confidence and his ability, he takes the touch and kills it in front of him, whilst the defenders almost cover themselves. He stands still and reverses it back across Areola, and he's got absolutely no chance. Brilliant response by Aston Villa into this second half. 2-2.
Sets up this second half beautifully. 40 minutes to play, and it's the way their manager Unai Emery would have wanted his players to respond, and they've responded, Luke Chambers.
Absolutely, and we mentioned it's been a slow start, literally 45 seconds before that equaliser, but I mentioned Aston Villa have been prowling and pressing and probing West Ham all afternoon. Now I mentioned, could West Ham keep up that level of intensity and recovery and getting men behind the ball, but the way Paquetá was caught on the ball just inside his own half, and it shows you the level. When we mentioned the level, Aston Villa, when they break and have that quality and space, they are so dangerous, and they showed that there with Morgan Rodgers and the way he's finished that chance.
Yeah, Lindelof, he came over the halfway line striding forward. Potts won it back for West Ham, now to Bowen on the right hand side, just outside the area, left footed cross, headed away by Onana, bounces once, out of play it goes. It's a throw in for West Ham, deep inside Aston Villa's left full back area. Oh yeah, realise I've not run through the Aston Villa lineup at the start of this second half. I will do when I get a moment. It's also a point that I like to raise with Luke, something he said about Aston Villa in the first half commentary, which has come to fruition. Let me make that point now for you, Luke. You did say about Aston Villa, they won't care when they were behind to Brighton by 2-0 because they're such a class side, and they've shown that. So what you said was exactly true. They take their time, just like their manager. They're very calm, and they actually portray what their manager is on the football pitch.
Absolutely, and when he says something, people listen, and I think when they have an incident where they've got to attack and score, they generally do that. And Kamara, I mentioned, the way he just slowed the play down and allowed Paquetá to almost just step to his left as he tried to close him down to win the ball back, and he then played the ball with the outside of his right foot around him, and then Tielemans was able to deliver a fantastic cross, get men in the box, bodies in the box, and it drops to Rodgers, whose first touch is absolutely brilliant. But That's the quality they have, and that's why they are chasing the position in the league they currently are.
Magassa, right-footed, takes a deflection. About 30 yards away, spins into the mid-drift of Bizot. Did well to take it down and not to spill it. Rolls it out to Lindelof. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 2. If you're just joining us at the start of this second 45 minutes via your BBC Sounds app, it's 5 Sports Extra 3 from 5 Live Football. So the Aston Villa lineup at the start of this second half: Bizot in goals, their back four: Cash, Lindelof, Konza and Maatsen. In midfield: Kamara, Onana and Tielemans, with McGinn their captain. Rodgers playing both behind Watkins, who has the ball just set forward of the arc of the centre circle, shrugs off Magassa, but Todibo helps Magassa out. Now Paquetá strokes the ball from left to right to Bowen. Bowen very busy, legs pumping like pistons, comes in field. Wan-Bissaka overlapping on the right hand side, his hair bouncing around his shoulders. He wins a corner for West Ham, and some life into the Billy Bonds lower tier, right opposite from where Luke and I are watching this game.
Yeah, brilliant response from West Ham. They haven't been too thrown off their current game plan, and when they're winning the ball back, it's now, can you have that energy and make up an overlap? Can you make an extra body in the attack? And Wan-Bissaka did certainly that. Bowen, as usual, keeps hold of the ball and picks the right pass at the right time. Unfortunately for West Ham, they now have a corner. Can they capitalise?
Bowen who will take it left-footed. Here it comes. He's got some pace on it. Oh, it grazed against the crossbar. Referee's blown up for a foul. Be interesting to watch the replay of this, Luke, in front of us on the monitor. I'm not sure what the referee did not like there, but really good corner from Jarrod Bowen. Had pace and whip, and Bizot actually lost it, and the referee blew up.
Well, I was going to give Mavropanos some credit again for being physical, but it wasn't. It was the smallest man on the pitch. It was Somerville, who was just probably over enthusiastic around Bizot and pushes him.
It's played down the right for Watkins to latch onto. Steps in field, tries to pick out Rodgers. It bounces onto the chest of Wan-Bissaka. Onana was there to gobble up that bounce, and now Rodgers just outside the penalty area. He's got the equalising goal for Aston Villa. Second time in this game they've had to come from behind. They level things up, and Tielemans commits a foul, unnecessary really, on Potts. Potts wasn't going anywhere, deep inside his right full-back area. It's a free kick to West Ham. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 2.
Yeah, Freddie Potts, I think the West Ham fan base have been calling out for him to be a regular fixture in this team for quite a while now, and today he's certainly marshalled that midfield areas, and he's covered across when he's needed to, and just there he covers on the outside of the far side of the pitch, the outside of his 18-yard box, and deals with the danger. Tielemans has to foul him, and he just gets back into his position. He brings a real calmness to this midfield for West Ham.
That's the voice of Luke Chambers, former defender for Nottingham Forest and Ipswich, watching this game in the commentary box for 5 Sports Extra 3, Premier League Sunday. So really lively watch. Can't take your eyes off this game. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 2. It's a free kick for Aston Villa, which they take quickly. Now Konza has it, running away from the edge of his penalty area. Plays the ball in field to Kamara. Quickly closed down. The shadow of Fernandez is just over his right shoulder. He forced that pass into Tielemans, well defended by Potts. Grabbed it at the first attempt, then sliding challenge on Maatsen, and it's a throw-in for Aston Villa on the halfway line.
Yeah, again, a real competitive game now. It's turned into a bit of a chess match. Where can we find space? Where can we find that extra man? So far, every single back challenge is really competed well. There's bodies everywhere.
Paquetá tries to lift a ball down the heart of the midfield to the advancing Somerville. It was headed away by Lindelof, and Aston Villa will restart with Onana. Midway inside their own half, central area of the pitch. Plays it short and square to his right to Kamara, and he lifts it into Cash. And that's the West Ham supporters who you can hear getting behind their team. They need to win today to climb out of the bottom 3 ahead of Brentford versus Leeds, which will be on 5 Live from 5:30, with Alistair Bruce Ball and Pat Nevin, your commentary team. Free kick for Aston Villa. This game's right in the balance. You can feel that around the ground.
I think it's really something we need to focus on, is the fact that West Ham started with two strikers in Somerville and Bowen. And the fact now that they're almost playing those two players, Somerville as a left winger, Bowen as a right winger, without a recognised centre forward now. And the reason they're doing that is because of the threats that Aston Villa carry down the outside of the pitch, but they haven't really got a direct striker. Paqueta's trying to occupy that space, but they're not really playing with that out-and-out striker, which is real interesting for a Nuno side.
Magassa, did he keep the ball from running out of play right below the Billy Bonds stand? He did not, so it's a throw-in for the visitors, Aston Villa. They won here last season. Can they repeat the trick? Manchester City winning as well in southeast London. They need to keep pace. West Ham win the ball back. Fernandez tries to force the ball through the Aston Villa midfield. It's well tidied up by Bizot. There's a heavy back pass from Kamara. Ball's bouncing around in midfield. Juff allows it to run across his body and out of play. They'll take the throw in. The young Senegalese. Fernandez comes short, throws it infield to Potts inside the centre circle, plays it out to Wan-Bissaka. Now on to the captain, Bowen. West Ham with possession, and it's Aston Villa at the moment who've got everyone behind the ball. Todibo, just left of the arc of the centre circle. This is patient from West Ham. Magassa takes the ball off Fernandez, then clips it from left to right. Nice ball out to Bowen, 10 yards away from the dead ball line. The pace of the attack quickens up, tries to force the cross in, well defended by Matson. It's a corner to the Hammers. It's West Ham 2, Aston Villa 2.
Yeah, lovely play from West Ham. Magassa picks it up just inside Aston Villa's half in the centre circle and plays the most nonchalant 70-yard diagonal pass and cuts out Matson right into Bowen's path where he doesn't have to break stride. Lovely bit of play, gets themselves a corner with a block cross from Bowen.
Can he repeat his corner from moments ago? Here it comes, got some pace on it to the far post. Rodgers was there, he heads it outside the penalty area. Juff with his chest, left footed strike, takes a deflection actually off Tielemans, Luke, and it's out from a corner down this near side.
Yeah, defended well by West Ham, real lovely deep ball along the 6-yard box, and Morgan Rodgers heads it clear, drops to Diouf, who's had a real good game, takes a touch and tries to strike a volley on target, and Tielemans did brilliantly for Aston Villa and shuts down the space, but gives another corner away, and this time I think it's Freddie Potts to take it.
Nuno's going to miss Juff and Wan-Bissaka. They head to the African Cup of Nations tomorrow. Corners taken, not cleared. Paqueta goes down, nothing there. Fernandez with a shot 25 yards away, takes a deflection of an Aston Villa player, and it goes out for a third successive corner. Good pressure from West Ham. It's West Ham 2, Aston Villa 2.
Yeah, another great ball in from Potts, and it almost looked like Mavropanos was going to leap highest, and he just couldn't time it. It goes over his head as we now watch on the replay. Lovely ball to the back post, he comes crashing in, and Onana gets to it first, who then follows to the edge of the box, and he goes down with an injury. But fortunately for Aston Villa, he's back on his feet and takes his position as a zonal marker on the 6-yard box. But another corner for West Ham, and it's Jared Bowen.
West Ham and Aston Villa subs are warming up now. We've played an hour. It's 2 apiece. Bowen with the corner, left footed, curled into the far post. Bizot comes out on the edge of the 6-yard box. Juff with a volley, he punched it out, two-fisted. Juff with a volley on the edge of the penalty area, not troubling anyone really, apart from the supporters in the maybe right up the top row of the first tier. But decent try from the young man. And we've got a picture of Unai Emery on our monitor. I love his passion, Luke, by the way. It's a goal kick which is taken quickly, but he's just got such desire.
Oh, he has, but you don't want to be on the end of that passion, especially with the way his team have started this second half. I know they've got the equaliser, but since then it's been all West Ham, so he's very frustrated and cutting a really passionate, like you say, frustrated figure that's trying to play every single pass now. Yeah,
well picked out, Luke. The momentum has definitely swung in the favour of West Ham. They've responded well to that equalising goal from Aston Villa, and they're pressurising them, and as you can hear, they've won a throw-in deep inside the Villa left full-back area, taken quickly. It's set, cycled back out to this near side to Juff. 10 yards in from this near touchline, midway inside the Villa half. Somerville tries to tiptoe his way down the left hand side, but well defended by Cash, and it runs out for a goal kick. But at the moment, Luke and myself, our eyes are steered away to the left hand side as the first change of the afternoon is being made by Unai Emery, and it's Onana who's making way, and Marlon replacing. So it's not like for like, Luke. It's an attacker coming on for a midfield player.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see where John McGinn comes from this. I think Onana's coming off from playing in the centre of midfield, which has been a real good battle for both sides. I think both teams have played very, very well through that midfield, but Marlon will certainly add some pace, some power, some directness as he takes his place on the field, and it looks like he almost may be going up to play alongside Watkins.
A little change in formation from Unai Emery. Marlon, a forward attacking player, Onana a midfielder, but he's made the change after 64 minutes, and we'll see how Aston Villa line up. But first they have to defend. The ball hasn't come out of their half for quite a while. Wan-Bissaka outstretching, but Matson wins it back for Aston Villa. Now they come on the attack down the left hand side. This is Rodgers, plays it infield but behind his captain McGinn, well read by Fernandez. McGinn wins it back. Marlon wants to get it on his right foot. Marlon still has it. Marlon with a shot, punched away. Good goalkeeping by Areola. Good shot by Marlon, testing the goalkeeper. That was a handball by Somerville. Konza is not sure why he's pleading at the referee. Referee's awarded the free kick. I don't think he was really happy with that, but Marlon straight away, Luke Chambers getting into the action.
Yeah, and it just seems to have given Aston Villa an injection of pace, and it breaks to him on the edge of the 18-yard box. He does brilliant, uses his strength and his power to get away from Fernandez and let an unbelievable strike off. But fortunately for West Ham, it's straight at Areola, who powers it away.
Marlon again puts a low ball into the penalty area, just behind the penalty spot. Well dealt with by the West Ham defence, but Aston Villa now with their momentum swinging in their way. It's going one way and then the other, and that little change, it's unsettled the West Ham defence, because like you rightly called it, Luke, Marlon's playing up top with Watkins.
Yeah, and again I think they've almost matched up now. I mentioned numerous times that West Ham have almost gone to a 4-2-4 with sort of more defensive players in that front line, and now Aston Villa have gone and probably matched them in a 4-2-4 formation with McGinn on this near side in front of us as he loses possession in front of Nuno for Aston Villa. But yeah, real interesting change, which has seemed to have kick-started Aston Villa into some sort of positivity since their equaliser.
We're approaching the 66th minute of the game. It's two apiece here at the London Stadium. Wan-Bissaka with one of those trademark sliding challenges, wins the ball cleanly, and now Bowen just very cautiously comes forward 5 yards, midway inside the Villa half, over on that far side, West Ham's right, as they attack the goal to our left on BBC Sounds 5 Sports Extra 3, 5 Live Football, the home of the Premier League. Juff now back to Debo. He inches forward, his socks roll down to his ankles as well. Almost looks like one of those rugby players, like a prop. He's got a fixture of that. Somerville jogs into the penalty area, tricks his way past two Aston Villa defenders. Kamara and Cash it was. Kamara now wins the ball back, yard away from the dead ball, and Paquetá all over him. This is good from Fernandez, and Paquetá. Fernandez wins it back, then he just flops down for some unknown reason, wants to win a free kick. Didn't really need to do that. Throw-ins taken quickly. Can't take your eyes off this game at the moment. Todibo in front of Unai Emery. He's dancing on the edge of his technical area. Magassa pulled by Kamara. Now Todibo forces the ball into Fernandez. Got some space. Well picked out Paquetá. Paquetá to Bowen. Bowen! Oh, that's sensational. But the flag's gone up. That was a sweet strike. That was lovely from West Ham. Fernandez is down injured. The flag went up immediately. Bowen was offside. That would have been some celebration inside the London Stadium. Let's have a look back. He's crept offside. He is offside, isn't he, Luke?
Oh, he is, but the roof came off the stadium just then, and it was brilliant play. And you said Unai Emery's dancing on the touchline. He's trying to tell his team, calm down, don't go chasing, stay in your shape. And that's exactly what they did. But Paquetá turns and feeds a brilliant ball through to Jarrod Bowen, and he's the man you want on that occasion. He buries it at the far post. But fortunately for Villa, it's offside, and it's 2-2.
What a sweet finish that was, Luke. We were right behind that, weren't we? We could see everything developing. And our angle, he was on the edge, left-hand side of the penalty area, and he just stroked it.
He just, since he's moved from Hull City in the EFL Championship and he's come through those levels, the reason that West Ham signed him is because whenever he had a chance or a big moment, he delivered the cross. He made the chance, he hit the target, and that's what he's continued to do. And the way he runs and competes and commits to every single game for West Ham is the reason why he's so highly rated here. But that chance just summed him up in a nutshell. Great first touch, brilliant finish at the far post, but unfortunately offside.
They signed him from Hull in January 2020, approaching 6 years now. He's the captain, he's the leader of West Ham United. 2 apiece into the final 21 minutes of this gripping Premier League encounter between West Ham and Aston Villa. And there's a winning goal out there, isn't there? There is a winning goal out there, you can feel it. We're not quite sure who will get it, but you do feel there's another goal in this game.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's 1 or 2 more goals, and I think the way that the game's being played now, it's almost 4v4. West Ham's back 4 against Villa's front 4, and on the flip side the same for Aston Villa versus West Ham's front 4. So really intriguing. It's who's going to blink first, I think, now, and who's going to drop that runner, who's not going to stay with their man, who's going to make a mistake, because so far it's been competed brilliantly from both sides.
Phil Foden has scored for Manchester City. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 2, Spurs 0. Luke made sure I gave that score out, being a former defender for Nottingham Forest. Sunderland 1, Newcastle 0, and here it's West Ham 2, Aston Villa 2. All of the highlights tonight on BBC One. Match of the day, I've got a feeling it's a match of the day that you won't miss. It's on the iPlayer all week as well. Konza with a header back to his goalkeeper. 20 minutes to play then. We're all level. It's balanced, this game. Who, if anyone, can take maximum points? Plenty to play for both teams. Huge points available. Cash on the halfway line drills the ball forward in search of Watkins or Marlon. Over the head it goes to Areola.
And that's 2 balls now Matty Cash has had. All he has to do is leave it along the floor down the outside of the 18-yard box. He's tried to pick out both runners in Marlon and then Ollie Watkins over the top, and it just then drifts through to Areola. But good chances for him to just play it into space, because like I mentioned before, it's 4v4 at the back, and I've just noticed now West Ham and Nuno, they've made a change into a 4-1-4-1 with Freddie Potts just sitting in front of that front 4 of Aston Villa. So it's now a 5v4 when Aston Villa attack.
And this is Todibo, midway inside his own half, swapping passes with Potts. Aston Villa are allowing West Ham to have possession. Watkins just laid one on Mavropanos. Bowen keeps the ball from running out of play, scampers down the right hand side, heads towards the byline, wins a corner. That was really from his endeavour, his guts, his desire to get on the end of that ball, and he forced Maatsen into a mistake.
Just when he gets the ball at his feet, everyone stands up, everyone comes alive, and he just plays the way he commits to his team, and drove at Maatsen, gets his side another corner, and then steps up to take the corner. Now he is the leader of this team, and he's performing in such a manner that has lifted the whole stadium.
He's in charge of the corner over on that far side of the stadium as it sweeps around from the Billy Bonds stand. Bonds will take it, Bowen will take it, left-footed. Oh, he's just stepped, grazed past the far post. There was no one there at the far post. It's got some real pace on that, and the way he whips it in. They say you should be lurking at the far post. You score a lot of goals from that position. 2-2.
Yeah, it's a real good chance for West Ham, and no one's covering, and you try to make sure as you're coming up for those corners that you discuss with your teammates, right, I'll take front, you take middle, especially as it goes later in the games and you come away from your routines. But unfortunately for West Ham, there's no one there to tap it in.
Here comes McGinn with his trademark surge, head down like a ball right through the heart of midfield. Marlon lays it back for McGinn, but cleared away by Somerville. When he does that, John McGinn, he looks so dangerous, hard to stop. Mavropanos tries to clear, play's been stopped. It's a free kick or maybe a drop ball when we restart. Magassa is down. It's West Ham 2, Aston Villa 2. We've got 17 minutes to play. When John McGinn does that, Luke Chambers, looks terrific, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's played off this right-hand side for much of the game, and he's then just drifted in, just inside West Ham's half, outside the centre circle, and then he gets turned. And once he gets turned, he's very, very difficult because he's power, he's got a low centre of gravity, and he drove through the middle and released a brilliantly weighted pass into Morgan Rogers' pass. He just cut it just behind Marlon outside the 6-yard box. And then for me, on the flip side, for West Ham, which they haven't had since the start of the season, you've got Crescencio Somerville, who's playing left wing. He ends up on the edge of his own area, just outside the penalty spot, and he picks up the second ball. And if that doesn't show me a team that is playing together in a positive mindset at the moment, then I don't know what will.
Couple of more changes for Aston Villa, and Ollie Watkins is making his way off the pitch, and he'll be replaced by Emi Bungia. And the other change is like for like as well. Matson, his number is up, and Lucas Dean is replaced him as well. Both of these changes taking place in the 75th minute. So 3 changes in this second half that Unai Emery has made. No changes so far from Nuno Espirito Santo. It's very rarely you see a Premier League manager don't make changes at this stage of the game, but Nuno's happy with what he's seeing at the moment for West Ham.
Yeah, I think he's discussing now with his assistant on the in his technical area, what can they change, what do they need to change, but so far so good for them. Obviously they're drawing, but he's very happy with his energy levels so far. You look at their bench, they've got Callum Wilson that could come on, you've got Souček with his experience as well, you've got Max Kilman who's on the bench, Carl Walker-Peters, so if he does have to make changes, he's certainly got options. But at the moment, West Ham can be very pleased with their performance.
And it's 2-2 with Todibo. Missed place pass 10 yards forward from where Juff wanted it down this near side West Ham's left. So throw in for Aston Villa, which Cash will take his time over. Still looking at the latest scores in the Premier League. Sunderland 1, Newcastle 0, Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 2, and Nottingham Forest 2, Spurs 0. It's a Scottish League Cup final just kicked off at Hampden Park, and St Mirren have taken an early lead, leading Celtic by 1-0. Their manager Wilfred Nancy has lost his opening 2 games to Hearts and Roma. If he loses today, there'll be question marks already, I'm sure, in the hotbed that is Glasgow. It's a free kick for West Ham, forward of the arc of the centre circle. Let's say a couple of yards shy from being midway inside Aston Villa's half. Potts takes it quickly, short and square to his right to Fernandes, and now he rolls it back to Wan-Bissaka, comes back to Potts, now to Juff. Aston Villa's defensive line moves up 10-15 yards, and that was wasted, Luke.
Yeah, and you hear the moans and groans from the West Ham fans. Could have put the ball on top of Aston Villa and asked them a question, and they end up playing it round the centre circle and then goes back to Areola, and now Aston Villa have possession around the halfway line.
With their captain McGinn, closed down quickly by Potts. Potts and McGinn just shove each other in the chest. It was more of a welcome than anything harmful. Dissot clears left-footed. Wan-Bissaka gets there before Rogers. Flicked forward by Fernandes. Falls out to Magassa. Takes his time. Back to Potts. Into Fernandes. Closed down by Marlon. Runs through Marlon. Fernandes. Back heel now to Magassa. Midway inside the Villa half. Down this near left-hand side. 5 yards in from the touchline. This is Somerville. He is attacking the penalty area. Somerville, ball loses out. Now it's Bowen. Back to Somerville. Can he get a shot off? He does. And scoops it wide of the near post. Grazes, and I'm being kind there, grazes the side netting. It's a goal kick to Aston Villa, 2-2.
And that's the second time Somerville's got the ball and he's drove at Matty Cash. He loves to take him just on his outside, which then causes Matty Cash to step too far down the line. He then drives inside and a space opens up, and Jared Bowen almost tries to get it and sets it off to him, but it's tackled into his path. It's a great first touch, but Konsa just comes across on the edge of the 6-yard box and sees the angle out, and he cannot get it on target. Let off for Aston Villa.
Nottingham Forest have a third. Sangari with a goal. Put it on Tottenham today. Nottingham Forest 3, Tottenham 0. Who will get a third goal here? Is there to be one between West Ham and Aston Villa? It's 2-2 currently on 5 Live Football from the BBC. 5 Sports Extra 3. You can find us via your BBC Sounds app. This is Rodgers outside the penalty area, right footed. He smashes it home. That is sensational. Nothing was there for him. He controlled it, pushed it forward, and he just went for it, and he saw the gap, and it's his second and Aston Villa's third, and for the first time this afternoon they hit the front. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 3.
Right in front of the Aston Villa faithful. He takes a touch on the edge of the box, almost 4 yards outside the D of the area, and it's lovely play through the middle. Lindelof picks it up, he plays a lovely ball into his path, he turns, no one pressures him, and the way he hits the ball, it almost like it sets off across and above the crossbar, and Areola's on his 6-yard line, and it just dips over the top of him and into the top corner. It's an absolutely brilliant strike, but the way he's received the ball in space unopposed, take nothing away from the strike, but West Ham will be certainly asking questions of where were their midfield at that moment in time.
Yeah, you've said them so many top remarks today, Luke, and I think that's just the best one. Where was the midfield? Why weren't they closing him down?
Well, Lindelof has so much time just inside West Ham's half, and he's able to turn and bring it onto his right foot just outside the centre circle, and I wouldn't call it a defence splitting pass, but he finds Morgan Rodgers free as a bird, 35 yards from goal, who then turns, takes an extra touch, takes 3 touches, and then has a shot. And you're thinking, you've defended so well as a team, and why in that moment, without seeing it back, you'll have to see how do you answer that question, but take nothing away. What a goal from Aston Villa.
And that's the key point that you raised there, Luke. He's had an extra touch, he's had time. You watch it right in front of you, you think, close him down, but they didn't do that. So Nuno responds, and he's going to make a change. Callum Wilson is coming on, just checking to see who he's replacing. It's Magassa who's made way over on that far side. Yet he's come off, so a midfielder has been taken off, and he's put Wilson up top. But at the moment they've got to defend this. They come down the left hand side. Rodgers comes infield in search of his hat-trick. Now McGinn. That was a heavy first touch from the Aston Villa and Scotland captain, and it's swept away by Wan-Bissaka. We did feel there was another goal in this game. Is there to be a 6th goal in this game? We've still got 9 minutes to play. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 3. And Aston Villa, for the first time this afternoon, they're into the lead after they trailed as early as the 31st second.
I think that's the difference now. Once Aston Villa do get in the lead, they become a different side now. They're already taking possession of the ball, dropping themselves into their own half, and they've got fresh legs. You've got Luca Dean come on the other side. You've got Buendia playing in number 10. Marlon's up top, fresh legs. The quality that they've been able to introduce to this second half will be one of the main reasons if they go on and win this game.
Areola clears, quickly closed down by Buendia. And now McGinn down this near side of the right. Once again that stooping run. He heads towards the corner flag. Just little slight nudge by Fernandez on him. And West Ham win possession. They've got time. They've got to regain their composure and their calmness somehow. They've got time to make their mark in this game. Wilson harries Konsa. Given away by Buendia, and that's a foul by Kamara on Somerville.
Yeah, good recovery from Callum Wilson, but Konsa again looked like the Rolls Royce that he is. He's responded very, very well to that early mistake of going 1-0 down, and it was his mistake which cost him to lose that goal early on. But he's defended brilliantly, and the way he can bring the ball out from the back again showed there. He's a calmness personified in the heart of that back four for Aston Villa.
West Ham United 2, Aston Villa 3. 7 minutes of normal time to play, plus any that is allocated by the referee. This is the star man at the moment for Aston Villa. Rodgers plays it out to the left hand side for Marlon to chase, keeps it from running out of play. Wan-Bissaka takes it away from him. Marlon was slightly unbalanced. Bowen with his back to goal on the halfway line. Wan-Bissaka heavy first touch. Rodgers comes back there and wins it. An all-round commanding midfield performance from Morgan Rodgers.
He's been everywhere, especially in this second half. He's drifted off the left, he drops into pockets, he's played off the right, he's ran through the middle, and he can influence the game, and that's why he's been picked. And you mentioned earlier by Thomas Tuchel, is why he's being picked again. Sometimes he's a little bit quiet. He's got 2 goals again today, but the way he's influenced this game is why he's in the team and why he's so highly rated. But the question is for West Ham now, is that one step too far? Has that sucker punch been hit and taken the wind out of them, or can they respond with one last bit of quality to get back into this game?
Rodgers, second time this season, he scored 2 goals in a game. Did that against Leeds United at Ellen Road. Aston Villa ran out winners that afternoon by 2-1. They're leading now as the clock ticks down to the final 5 minutes of normal time by 3-2, and they have possession inside their own half. Through the centre circle it goes. Nice football, patient football from Aston Villa. They just prod it out to the left hand side to Dean, plays it in field. This is all going on first time. Now Kamara picks out Marlon to Dean. Dean with a shot, low down to his left hand side. Areola pushes the ball outside the penalty area, helped out by his defence to Bowen. Bowen doesn't manage to keep control of the ball, and it's a throw in for Aston Villa. Luke Chambers, that was a decent effort.
Yeah, lovely bit of play from Aston Villa, and it's almost, I wouldn't say it's all a little bit too easy now, but I think West Ham have just taken their foot off the gas and feeling a little bit sorry for themselves in these last 5 minutes. But Aston Villa are certainly keeping possession, sucking them out, and then playing through the lines very, very efficiently. But they don't have to chase this game now, whereas West Ham do. And I just question, have they got enough energy now to try and win the ball back high up the pitch without opening themselves to another goal?
Again, as he stopped by Jules, referee says no, allows play to continue. They've still got time, just need to find some calmness in their play, a bit of composure. Will their captain provide it? Bowen, always their inspiration, picks out Todibo. He has plenty of space in front of him. Now it's Somerville down this near side, the left, midway inside the Villa half. McGinn wins it back, goes down in a heap, but play continues. He's a strong young man, he'll be alright. Now it's out to Marlon, head down. Mavropanos does well, sticks out the left boot, stops the forward thrust of Marlon. It's going to be a throw-in for Aston Villa.
Yeah, and that's just that warning sign. Really good defending by Mavropanos, but he's 1v1 against Marlon in half a pitch, and now West Ham are chasing the game. Those gaps will start to open up. So we just look down below us, and Nuno's giving some team talk to Souček and the likes of Kante potentially coming on, and Rodriguez. So they're obviously going to make some changes, and it's just where can they be to influence.
Yeah, be a triple change, but Rodgers don't care about that. He had a shot blocked on the edge of the penalty area by Mavropanos. There is a player down, looks to be an Aston Villa player, just holding his right ankle. It's Emi Bungia. Hopefully he's okay. He's had a few, one particular bad injury, and he's recovered from that, the Argentinian. It's been a real revelation this season for them as well. Let's just watch this back. Wan-Bissaka, it's just the way he fouled there. Talk you through it in a moment. Sorry, Luke, yeah.
I think it was as he's played the ball forward, I think Matheus Fernandes comes in and tries to nick the ball and ends up just standing on the inside of his right ankle, but one of those real painful ones as a player, especially late on in a game. But fortunately back up on his feet, like you say, he's had some injury problems, but West Ham now making some changes.
Yeah, Souček on for Potts, and Somerville is making way. It's Mohamedou Kante who comes on for him, and Rodriguez is replaced Paquetá. So Rodriguez, who started last week against Brighton, made his first start since the opening day. He comes on. Souček and Kante as well for Somerville, Potts and Paquetá. Last throw of the dice really now from Nuno. Luke, we've got 90 seconds of normal time to play plus what is added on at the end of the game.
Yeah, almost a brand new midfield three now for West Ham, and Matheus Fernandes will end up playing off this left hand side, but yeah, they're going to have to go after it, which is going to leave them susceptible to a counter attack and some space, but they've got absolutely nothing to lose now. They've given a real good account of themselves, but they need to try and get something back.
They've just given a free kick though away to Aston Villa. It's Wan-Bissaka on Rodgers, so it's a free kick to the visitors. They'll take their time over this restart. The clock ticks down into the 90th minute we go. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 3. It's been a thoroughly entertaining afternoon. Dean with a cross from the left hand side, Juff with a header up and out of the penalty area it goes, and Mavropanos very firm with that header out to the right fullback area. Wan-Bissaka now launches it in the direction of the centre circle. It's headed by Cash out to the left hand side. Gia picks out Rodgers. That was nice from the Argentinian. Rodgers going for his hat-trick, left-footed strike. Dragged it wide, wasn't far away. It's a goal kick instead to West Ham.
Yeah, and I mentioned those gaps opening up, and it's that man who you'd want in it. Morgan Rodgers just picks up the ball and he drives at Mavropanos, who can't really do anything because the option was could go inside or could go outside. He chooses to go outside, but he's got so much pace and power, he just drags it onto his left foot, and as a centre back you can't close up that distance enough. But fortunately for West Ham, it drifts past the far post just across the 6-yard box.
We've got 5 minutes of stoppage time. 5 minutes for West Ham to find the equaliser. This is Bowen. Won the ball off Lindelof, approaching the 6-yard box, helped out by Tielemans, and it's still West Ham 2, Aston Villa 3. And now Wan-Bissaka down the right hand side pulls the ball back into the penalty area, and it's swept away by Kamara. Man City have a third at Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 3. Haaland, his second of the day from the penalty spot. Nottingham Forest 3, Spurs 0. Sunderland still leading Newcastle by a goal to 0 in the Weir Tyne derby, and it's West Ham 2, Aston Villa 3 here. We've played a minute of the 5 that have been added on at the end of this game. This is Fernandes, who got the game up and running after 31 seconds with the opening goal. Now they're trailing West Ham by 3 goals to 2. One back by Aston Villa. Kamara says Juff left a leg tangling in on him, and he'll be picking up a yellow card as he heads to the African Cup of Nations tomorrow.
Yeah, he picks up a yellow card because his frustration, the tackle that he goes and wins, it bounces up off the tackle, hits his left arm, and he's penalised for it, and he punches the ball, which is not what you want to see, but you can understand the frustration from him because he's performed very, very well, and he'll be unable to impact any results for West Ham over the coming weeks.
Comes off Joffy, can't believe it. It's a throw-in for Aston Villa right below us here on this near side, midway inside West Ham's half. He looks up to the cloudy skies now, the floodlights are on brightly here in anguish, and it's a throw-in that Cash will take his time over. 2 minutes of the 5 that have been played. Long throw-in into the penalty area, headed once by Todibo. Mavropanos was helping him out, but referee blows the whistle. West Ham need to show a bit more urgency over this restart. Areola will take it, right-footed, it's inside his penalty area. He launches it forward, up and over the halfway line it goes. Souček with a header, grazes his forehead, cleared away by Dean, bounces out of play. Wan-Bissaka will take the throw-in. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 3. The dying embers of this Premier League game on 5 Live Sport from the BBC. 5 Sports Extra 3 we're on via your BBC Sounds app. What a thrilling afternoon Luke Chambers and I have witnessed so far. Is it about to take a final twist with West Ham in possession inside the Villa half? Play through the centre circle to Souček. He stops. Now he just lofts the ball forward and into the grateful arms of Bizot. That was wasted from the experienced Souček.
It was, but the question for me, why is Souček delivering that ball from 40 yards on the angle? They need him in the box. Someone else has to take that responsibility for him to then go and challenge it, and he puts up a ball that just doesn't trouble anyone, in straight into the goalkeeper's arms.
Kante won the ball back for West Ham. Kamara goes down. It's a bit of inexperience really from the young Juff and Fernandez. Kamara was just waiting for that nudge, wasn't he, Luke? And as soon as he felt it, he went down. He's won a free kick in their right full back area, and this will take another 30 seconds off the clock.
And it's the biggest frustration from any player watching on. Just stand up, don't make him make a decision, just allow him to have the ball. He's not going anywhere, and it's the same for any fan watching it. You've always seen it. There's at least 3 or 4 in a game, but that one there, no real reason to make a challenge or put any pressure on, but allows Aston Villa to regroup and takes the pressure off.
Picture of Nuno right on our monitor, and all of a sudden now the score stays as it is as we enter the final 60 seconds. People like myself, they just run these stats out, and it's no wins in their last 5, and out of the 11 games that Nuno would have been in charge of, they've only won 2. Can they salvage something now from this? I think over the piece, I think most neutral observers will say they deserved a point, but Wan-Bissaka has it outside the penalty on the right hand side. Dean stops him. This will be a throw-in for West Ham, level with the edge of the Villa penalty area, below the Billy Bonds stand, on a day when the club remembered a legend that is Billy Bonds. Can they grab a point and an equalising goal? Cross comes in from the right hand side, headed away by McGinn. The clock ticks down. We've played the 5 minutes of stoppage time. Juff needs to take this throw-in, needs to take it quickly. The whistles cascading down from the Aston Villa supporters to our right, pushing the back. Is that a free kick? The referee says no. It's a goal kick, and I think when we restart, Anthony Taylor will blow up for full time.
Yeah, what a disappointing finish with that throw-in. No real urgency for someone to get the ball. Obviously Diouf doesn't have a long throw-in, so you have to get across quickly to maybe just get your team a last chance, but they didn't really do that, and it comes to nothing. Pulls to Bizot to have a last goal kick, and that should be at.
It started brilliantly for West Ham, but it's going to end on a sour note. There goes the full-time whistle. The two managers shake their hands. It's ended West Ham 2, Aston Villa 3. And what a rip-roaring start we had to this game. After 31 seconds, Fernandez fired West Ham into the lead, but it's Aston Villa who'll grab the headlines with their 10th Premier League win of their last 11, and 9th successive win in all competitions. They keep their title charge intact. They're tucked in behind Manchester City and Arsenal. Luke Chambers.
Yeah, brilliantly disciplined away performance. They've been behind twice in the game against West Ham today, especially early on, but the response every single time has been calmness. We know we're a good team, and they're showing week in, week out, and you have to be a seriously good team to win 10 out of 11 at any level of football, let alone in where we currently sit. But for West Ham, for me, lots of promise. Looked like a different side altogether, but that last sucker punch, but to go down to a goal of that quality, sometimes you have to hold your hands up. There'll be an inquisition of how he received the ball in the space and time that he did so late on. But fortunately for West Ham, there's a little bit more time left in this season for them to continue to move in the right direction. And I believe that they will, because today they showed a team that's together with their fan base. But unfortunately for them today, they've come up against Aston Villa, who are certainly in formidable form.
They didn't panic, did they? Even when they fell behind as early as they did, Aston Villa. You could feel the composure, the calmness as they go to celebrate with their supporters, led by their captain John McGinn. They always knew they were in the game. and they show that class.
And that's the difference, I think. And I mentioned just at the last moments, you got Souček hitting the 40-yard diagonal to try and pick out someone from across. But the moments that Aston Villa had to be on the money, had to deliver the right weight of pass, the right strike, the right cross, the right first touch, as Onana gives a big fist pump in front of the away fans. That's the difference in the sides in the Premier League. If you get those moments, you have to take those big moments, and Aston Villa are doing that to a man. Any player that in those positive positions is ending up being bang on the money.
A word on West Ham before we finish again on Aston Villa. They played their part, there's no doubt, and I think most neutral observers would say they probably deserved a point. There's still hope. They're in a relegation battle. Nuno's said that a few times, their manager. They need to start finding a way to win here at the London Stadium. They've played now 8 games this season. They've won 2, lost 6 here.
Yeah, and in any division, especially the Premier League, the home form is so important, and they have to rectify that quickly. And you thought, what a great start. But again, you look back at the goals, are they a little bit too easy? Are they allowing them a little bit more time? And when you come up against teams with the quality that Aston Villa have, you have to shut those doors. And unfortunately for West Ham, they couldn't today. And it felt like as that third goal went in, it just took all the stuffing out of them, and they didn't really have an answer for that. But on the flip side, they could have gone 3-2 up with a really well taken goal by Jarrod Bowen, but unfortunately it was offside. So the positive signs are there for them, and they just have to keep believing, keep moving in the right direction, stick together, because Nuno knows how to get sides winning games, and I believe in time he will certainly do that.
Let's finish, Luke, on Aston Villa then. Arsenal won yesterday. Manchester City have beaten Crystal Palace by 3-0. Just run through the other latest scores, where they're all full time now. Nottingham Forest 3, Spurs 0. Sunderland have beaten Newcastle in that we're tying derby by 1-0. So just finishing on Aston Villa, they've kept up with the pace of Manchester City and Arsenal this weekend. Let me just run you through their next 3 fixtures. Manchester United at home a week today, then they've got Arsenal away and Chelsea away over the Christmas period. I think after that Chelsea game, over these next 3 games, if they're still in touch with Arsenal and Manchester City, and they're playing Arsenal in that second game of 3, I think they'll be for real then. That's my feeling. What do you think?
Well, absolutely, but that'll be the second time they've met Arsenal in this real busy period, so a question will be asked of them, are they serious? Because there's 3 teams now that seem to be one.